Wanted to actually give you guys an update. I have been working on a new material. Hi everyone, this is Alan Altiner, and I am just building another asset pack. So I am working on a material that's going to really make it easy and simple, especially if you're a beginner. If you're an advanced user, I'm sure you can advance or tweak this material. But I just wanted to work on the basics, so I just want to go over it. I basically have the albedo here. Everything is virtual textures at 4K. So the albedos here, we can tweak our, just the general stuff that really helps with brightness, contrast, and saturations that I've added here. And then I have surface imperfection texture that we can add, and that slot is right here. And then I also have the AORM that goes into your roughness with some controls, metallic, ambient occlusion, and I also have your normal maps and then some macro normals. And I think this will give you the ability to make enough tweaks so the assets can look good. Again, my goal with most of my assets that I'm building in 2025 will not be only for gaming, but my focus is really on virtual productions. So some of my assets will be more higher resolution that will really work well with virtual production. And if you're trying to use Nanite and Lumen, so I am putting together this file that will make it really simple and easy for anyone working in the virtual department, or if you're a cinematic artist or a director. This will really just make it simple. So I'm trying to make the file that is not too complicated and very, very easy to tweak. So I do have an instance of this material open, and I just want to go over and show you guys what you can do. So a few days ago, I posted this first asset that I basically modeled and then textured in Substance Painter. And I basically have continued building more. There's another asset here, which is a different wall. And I am putting in a lot of information. Again, this is really meant for medium shots. You can obviously use these as far shots, but I am trying to build these assets so you can get fairly close to them, set up your cameras, and I do have 4 different cameras here that I'm just gonna go through. And then when you purchase this pack, obviously everything will be organized, as well as all the material. It's gonna be really simple for you to tweak things, and there won't be anything really confusing. In the textures, you'll find that each one has its own folder. So if I, for example, I just built a new asset, which is a floor asset, and with this particular model, if I wanted to just go into the folder, you can go into the floor A. In this case, this is the floor A1. So you can see that the mesh is here. And then you have the virtual textures, your albedo, your normal, AORM is right here. And then you also have the instance material that's assigned to this particular mesh. So let's go ahead and do that. Now I just want to get a pretty close camera layout. Now I just want to get fairly close to this so we can see as I'm making these changes. And I also have some preset cameras here that I set up. So here is one that we can take a look. I also have a light source here that I would like to utilize. And this is what I usually do just to do some testing. I'm just going to increase the light. And this is where I can actually test a lot of different things. Again, I am really creating all of this with virtual production and cinematics in mind. So meaning these assets are not optimized for gaming. This pack is not for that purpose. I just want to be able to create assets that are high quality, that have enough detail, that actually virtual production or again cinematic artists or film directors can utilize, that contains all this information and are still very lightweight. And again, I am just gonna probably showcase a few of these, but I want to start with the ground mesh that I have. I'll just move my light back. So let's find a spot right here. I just want to make sure that I can show you guys what happens when we do add a lot of the details with the material. So this material that I have is my work in progress material that I use for my own projects, that really makes it easy as I'm trying to advance it. I am not an advanced material artist, but I have been working with the engine long enough as a generalist, and I was able to actually have the things that I need on a daily basis to make these tweaks. So let's go in and jump into this and take a look how we can change these things. So here, first off, I just want to show you guys that I have a textures, obviously, file here. And this is where the textures are. You can see that's my color albedo and then my normal. I am just going to go into the albedo. So if you want to turn on the controls, I'm just going to turn it on here. Enable base texture. Then I have my brightness, contrast, saturation, and tint. So let's explore these. So the brightness is pretty straightforward. You can change your brightness. You can change your contrast. I'm just going to undo. And then you can also change the saturation here. And then also you can tint the color very easily. And some of these objects actually have two materials. I wanted to make sure that I didn't have, you know, one asset that came with 50 different materials, and I see a lot of assets where they actually have way too many materials. But this particular mesh right here is just one material. And then you have different objects here. You can see at the very most you'll probably have 4 materials, and the reason I set this up this way, so you can actually control and change the colors of each element that makes this entire mesh. So going back to the floor, let's set up my camera. Alright, next let's go in and go to dirt. So I'm going to enable dirt. And here you can see that I can change my dirt color. In this case, I'll just leave it to this, a lighter color that's obvious. Here's the dirt texture. So you can basically use your own textures. You can simply use this section here, and then you can utilize your own seamless textures. So the texture is here. Obviously I have the generic stuff here. I can change the opacity. You can see that that controls the dust opacity. Then I have the texture strength. Let's zoom in some more. And then you can control how much it's blending. Then I have the texture control here. You can see that's coming in. So that'll be even more obvious if I start rotating this texture. So I'm just gonna go ahead and scale this. So now you can see the specular information is there and it's changing. You can also control the XY. Obviously, all these controls will help you if you wanted to use the dirt function. So I'm going to turn this off. Metallic is next. Yes, we do want to utilize metallic, and it's pretty straightforward here. I can basically do the intensity, change that. Let me just grab my light. And here we can just move the light. Actually, let me move it up a bit more. here. Just move this up. And then you can also control the intensity of that. So for now, I'll just tone down the light source. And again, just simple control. So if I actually zoom in a little bit more, you can see here that the texture is coming through. You can see it being visible. So you can see there's already, it helps. I mean, all these little things are definitely helping making the asset a lot more interesting, more convincing, or, you know, all the changes that you're making just makes the asset also unique. So these controls are important, in my opinion, for your production to tweak this to your needs. Here, pretty basic. Obviously, we're changing our roughness, as you can see here. And then I also have the intensity of that texture. Next, I'm going to go into normals. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here. So now if I activate my normals here, I can start bringing in some really nice detail in here. So if I just up this again, you can see here that detail is now coming in. And it holds up even when you're far away. These things are really important, you know, in especially for realistic stuff and cinematics. Like, you want all this detail, and you want to be able to control them on how much information you want, instead of having an asset that you can't really customize to your needs, right? That's important. Okay, so I'll leave that. Then I'm going to go into my macro normals. So this is still something that I am experimenting with, just to see what else I can bring in, but I would need to zoom in just a little bit more here. I want to tone down my normal, and then if I go into my macro normals, which also has another texture assigned, so if I go back to my material here, you can see here you can assign another texture to your macro normal. So this would be your secondary normal map. Again, here you can change that, and you can see that I am getting a bit more information. And what I want to be able to do, obviously, is break up everything that's kind of straight, right? So from far, you can see it gives you a ton of information. All right, so the last one will be AO, and that's pretty straightforward. You just turn on your ambient occlusion, and then the controls for your intensity and textures. Then the last one that I've added is surface imperfections. This helps tremendously. So here I basically just turn it on and off, and you can see that you can add your own texture here. So I'm gonna just zoom in a little bit more. It's just getting a bit more closer. And here I can obviously change the intensity, my rotation, and then also the texture intensity itself. So here I could kind of crunch that down, but now you can see that, again, if I was to rotate it, let me go back up a little bit. So here, now you can see that texture coming through, and you can also easily, if you wanted to scale this down, I'll just scale this down to a different value. And if I rotate it again, you can see here that information is coming through. So this is how you would basically adjust them. And I'm just gonna go ahead and hit save here. All right, so I'm gonna switch to a few cameras that I set up here. And when you do purchase this file, everything you see will be in the actual file as well. So I'll use my preset cameras here. Again, this is where I usually do my adjustments. And I'll switch back to my other cameras here. You know, I focus on a lot of different lighting tests because it's really important to understand the assets you're building how could they be utilized. And I think this is the most important part where I've spent the most time with all of my assets. And now with improved materials and a workflow, I think you guys will really like these assets. They're just out of the box, ready to go. You have enough tweaks that you can do with the master material. You can even advance it like I mentioned it before. But if you also run into any issues with path tracing, I did include the simple command that you can put in, which is the ray tracing command. If you have any issues, that will fix it. And that actually is within the master material. And here I am just making sure that I have all the correct albedo, normal, AORM files connected to each mesh. I am only exploring a total of 4 meshes here. So there's 3 different pieces that I've created for the walls. This entire pack is modular, so they'll easily snap in and give you the perfect amount of detail. And that's what's really important. With some of these assets that I'm building, I really want to maintain as much realism as possible. So it's really easy for you to just start building something. And now these being modular, that makes it really easy. This particular floor has a lot of detail, and I have 4 more additional floor meshes that I'm going to include that are very different. Some of them can also be utilized as the ceiling. But again, here I am just trying to adjust them to the edges. You can set them up. Again, like I said, they'll snap right in, which makes it really easy. And each unique mesh gives you the ability to have enough information, in your file that you can actually quickly create something that looks very, very detailed. And again, my focus is virtual production or filmmakers focusing on cinematics. You want high quality assets that are ready to go, that you can basically set them up the way you like it and just hit render. Or if you want to utilize them on an LED screen, these are really ideal for that purpose. Here I'm just building a simple corridor with 3 different wall meshes, and I am utilizing the back wall, which again will snap in perfectly for you. And once I have that set up, at least I can, build something quickly here and then test the file with the third person. And here I am just making sure that everything actually looks correct. I don't have a lot of repetition with these. And again, it's just a matter of really what your production needs. And my focus is mainly sci-fi, and most of the things that I'm building are hard surface models with a sci-fi theme. And then this pack will definitely allow you to very, very quickly build something that will help you speed up the process in your block out. Even in pre-production, you can still have high quality assets and showcase this to your art team or virtual art department, and you can again puzzle something together very, very quickly and put a file together that you're happy with. And then the next step would be setting up some lighting and maybe some emissive lights that I want to also include that you can easily put in there as blueprints. But I hope you guys like this file. I do spend a lot of time very carefully, not only just designing these, but also making sure that this will serve the purpose of what you're looking for, and you'll be happy with the assets, and you can utilize them in different scenes by just changing the colors, your lighting, and other conditions. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm really excited about these new packs that I'm building for 2025. I will make them available both on my Gumroad page on Division 369 Studios as well as the Fab Store. I will definitely push this product as well. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. Learning never stops, and I'll speak to you guys on the next video.